2 minutes till the dreaded shutdown. Ann Coulter and Juan Williams are with us.
Hello. Hi, Juan.
Why am I not dreading a shutdown? Why am I not in fear of a government shutdown, Coulter?
Well, Mr. Hannity.
Well, Miss Coulter,
I would say that it is not good form to be gloating about it. Conservatives should gloat about it.
I'm not gloating. I'm not afraid of it.
I don't think we should be laughing about it because there are, look, I think at least, and I bet you even Juan wouldn't disagree with this, you could shut down about 70% of the government. And it would be a huge boom to the economy, forget harming it. But there are very important things the government does, and you know that's what the media will focus on, and we ought to be concerned about it. I mean,
well, the Republicans
who won't get their checks, they're wounded soldiers.
Wait a minute, they passed a bill. They passed a bill in the House that would fund every soldier, and it passed with no opposition.
No, exactly. That's what our point is. Not that we're for a government shutdown, but that this is the Democrats' fault, and it is their fault. They're being outrageously unreasonable. Obamacare was passed illegally. The House did not vote on the Senate bill. The president has had to issue waivers for the company, the large employer insurance mandate. Why can't the rest of us get that? Congress has exempted itself from Obamacare. It's such a disaster. Why can't the rest of the country get that?
That's the biggest point.
Changes aren't ready to go. Why not just a one-year delay? They're the ones being unreasonable here, and particularly, I would add, the House stayed in session. They vote on their bill on Saturday, and Harry Reid refuses to take it up on Sunday. He is the one who is pushing it toward a government shutdown.
Yeah, well, they obviously want it. They made a political calculation that this is what they want. The Republicans funded government fully.
Yeah,
it's not ready. There are too many exemptions. The problem has been Republicans have been afraid of this. Juan, I'll let you weigh in. Go ahead.
Well, first, I love the music. I just love that song.
Oh, you love the Tramps? Me too.
I think that was terrific. Hello, Ann. Delighted to be with you and Sean. But let me just say, Sean, the reason you shouldn't be in fear and the reason that I think 90% of Americans aren't in fear is that we have health insurance. Sean and I happen to work for the same company, a big company that provides quality health insurance. That's where most Americans get their health insurance. It will not be impacted in any way. But guess what? About 40 million Americans who don't have health insurance, as of tomorrow, will have the opportunity to get low-cost, quality health insurance. That's a major
wait a minute. The CBO says 30 million Americans remain uninsured under Obamacare.
Well, there might be some, but I'm just telling you, for the first time, Sean, we are making history as Americans. We're finally catching up with every other industrialized Western democracy that offers basic health care as a human way of dealing with people who are sick instead of bankrupting them.
So that's your take, that you think we want to bankrupt people? The problem is all these countries that you're talking about are having massive financial cutbacks and reductions in everything, including...
Oh, yeah. How about Romney here in Massachusetts?
Right.
It's so popular, it's unbelievable. How about national health care in Britain, more popular than the Beatles?
They've cut back on the services. They also have a government rationing body, which is a death panel. And
we don't have that?
Okay, well, tell Sarah Moynihan, I think she was the first victim of it, and I think we'll refer to her often. She wouldn't have gotten her lung transplant if Kathleen Sebelius had her way.
That's a separate... That issue was about a child versus an adult. I mean, it has nothing to do with Obama.
It was an issue of a bureaucrat saying no. It was an issue of a bureaucrat jumping in the way of what a doctor wanted for her patient, and a patient would have died if the government had their way.
No, let me just again reiterate. This was about whether or not a child would be eligible for an adult.
And a bureaucrat said no, and if a judge didn't say yes, that girl would have died.
And
fact.
The judge said yes.
Well, thank goodness, because Kathleen Sebelius said some people live and some people die.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, that's what Kathleen Sebelius said. Juan, I can pull it up.
I'm still here. I think the larger point is fewer people are going to be insured after Obamacare. We've already seen that more than 300 companies are dropping their health insurance. You're certainly not going to be able to keep the health insurance you have. You have company after company just dumping their full-time employees so they won't have to provide their insurance the way people used to get it. And just quickly, look, to do this statewide, and I don't think it's the ideal solution. The ideal solution, conservatives have been promoting, from the beginning of time, is to have a free market in health insurance. Everything provided on the free market gets better and cheaper over time. Everything provided by the government gets more expensive and worse over time. But at least if you, and a governor doesn't have a choice, he has to live within the national system. At least if it's done state by state, I mean, I don't know if the health care plan in Massachusetts covers contraception. I wouldn't be surprised if it does, because that's a very liberal state. But why does Utah have to cover it? Why does Kentucky have to cover it? That's going to be an enormous expense that the people of some states aren't going to want to fund. But the main point is fewer people are going to have insurance, and they won't be able to afford the insurance they used to have, because in so many states their insurance premiums are tripling.
I don't even know where to start, but how are fewer people going to have insurance if
they won't have full-time jobs?
It doesn't. You don't need to have a full-time job. In fact, you can go on these exchanges or marketplaces that open up tomorrow, and find low-cost health insurance, for everybody. I don't understand.
And those are so desirable that Congress immediately waived itself from having to go to those exchanges. You're basically saying that the country, we're just going to shift the entire country except the very wealthy into Medicaid.
No.
That's what it is.
Well, first of all, don't forget Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. I don't think anybody, Republican or Democrat, would think about touching them. They're so popular. Americans love them.
I don't think people who are now subject, union members, Teamsters, who have these, you and Sean, who have these fabulous health care plans through their employers, would trade what you have, and that's part of your compensation. I mean, people take jobs and keep jobs, often not for the salary, not because the commute is better, but because the health insurance is better. That is part of the compensation. People are going to have to give that up, and why is it the Congress doesn't want to go to the exchange?
Why does Sean and I have to give up our health care now?
No, you don't, but Congress, many congressional staffers would have, except they waved themselves out of it. I mean, if nothing else, Juan, you have got to agree. If Obamacare is as great as you're saying, then the people who foisted this on the nation ought to be required to live under it, as Chuck Grassley insisted be put into the bill. And now they just, as soon as it comes around, time for them to sign up for the exchanges. No, Obama, please give us a waiver.
I think you're just delighting and skewering people, but I was trying to have a conversation here about a new plan. I mean, what's going on there is they're just preferring to keep their existing plan rather than say, well, now everybody here has to start shopping for insurance under these exchanges or marketplaces. The reality is that most people, and this was my earlier point, they're not going to experience any change. People on Medicare, Medicaid, no change. They have what they have. They can keep the system that they have. The big difference here is that people who don't have health insurance and people who previously said, I'm not going to get in an accident. I'm healthy. I'm 25 years old. Nothing's ever going to happen to me. Now have the opportunity to get in, and in case something does happen, they're going to get better care. Right now, we've all benefited by insurance companies doing away with exclusions on people who have pre-existing conditions. Now there's no longer a limit on how much
let me add one point.
Could spend on me if I get sick.
I think you're getting to the heart of it, and that is poor people already have Medicaid. Older people already have Medicare. What Obamacare does is force young people, and, one part of me laughs about this, to pay for something they don't want. I suspect the vast majority of them will simply pay the penalty because they're young and healthy. And gosh, a lot of them voted for Obama. So this is just an enormous, massive tax increase, which we were promised it was not, which Congress never, ever could have passed, which is why it was utterly illegitimate for John Roberts to uphold Obamacare by saying to Congress, well, I know as elected officials you could never politically have passed this by calling it a tax, but we'll just fix it for you up here at the Supreme Court where we don't have to stand for re-election. We'll call it a tax so that we can uphold it as constitutional. No, we have got to delay this Obamacare, and it is absolutely the Democrats being unreasonable.
Let me get this straight. The president's been reelected twice. You said John Roberts doesn't have to be elected, but President Obama campaigned for this and won election in 2008. Then he won re-election, again, more than 50% of the vote in 2012. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has affirmed it, and the Congress has passed it, and you're saying somehow it's illegitimate, and Democrats are unreasonable?
Obama definitely did not campaign on this in 2012 that is massively unpopular. A majority of Americans have opposed and continue to oppose Obamacare. It barely came up in the 2012 campaign. He's an incumbent. He won a weak re-election, according to the Brookings Institution, the weakest of any incumbent who got re-elected in 100 years. And by the way, all those House Republicans were elected too, and all the Senate Republicans were elected too. So, I mean, the fact that Obama was elected, this sure didn't stop Democrats from attacking Reagan's policies, and I might add, shutting down the government, not merely threatening to shut down the government, but shutting down the government when Reagan was elected in two massive landslides that put both of his elections to shame.
You know what? Those were about fiscal priorities. It was not about blackmailing people and saying if you don't go back and overturn laws that have passed and been affirmed by the Supreme Court and do
this would delay. Juan, you got to characterize it right. This is a one-year delay.
Let me tell you, what they want is not a one-year delay. That would be, if it was in good faith, I think Democrats would be...
Juan, it would never be viewed in good faith.
In the plan, Sean.
But listen, there are glitches. Most states can't get the exchanges online, as Ann pointed out. Number two, we can't afford it. The price affordability issue has literally, it's a $10,000 swing from what the president promised to where it is today. I would suggest this, if you want a reasonable solution. Take the one-year delay from today, this date, and let's make this the defining issue of the 2014 campaign. And now that the people know the reality, not the rhetoric about what Obamacare is going to do, why don't we make 2014 a referendum on it?
Well, why don't you give the people a chance to see what the reality is like?
This is the reality. The reality is...
People have the experience. They'll love it.
Well, that's what you say.
But they don't want it now. I mean, I don't understand these arguments, not so much from you, Juan, but from Republicans on our side. And I do believe that 99% of them want to stop Obamacare. So unlike some of them, I'm not going to call them names. I think we do have the same goal. But the argument that, Americans hate this. Don't stand in the way. Take yes for an answer. Well, there are elected representatives. If the people hate something, you are supposed to represent them and vote their will. That is their will. No, don't force us into the exchanges. Please give us the same deal Congress has by waiving Obamacare for us.
Listen, guys, I'm way over time here. I'm going to have to let you both go. Ann's new book, by the way, Never Trust a Liberal Over Three, especially a Republican, is coming out at the end of the month. And